The playtesting results are in, and I gotta talk about some Blue Eyes and Malice. So make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. So this is a results video and a tech choices talking about the things I'm noticing in these matchups for the people that want to get very ahead of the curve. So starting off over here with Blue Eyes, I swear I've played about 100 Blue Eyes games now, post, Blue Eyes structure deck. The Link one helps out the deck fantastically. It is really, really, really cool for what it brings to the table. The problem is, and this is an interesting problem I've noticed with the deck. If you can stop them from getting to the ultimate fusion, they just kind of have problems. And, I mean, this also comes down to, King Calamity's position on a future list. Because, I mean, believe it or not out here, and you might look at Centurion and you might be like, well, I don't understand how Centurion doesn't do better. Well, let me tell you why Centurion doesn't do better. The same thing that Blue Eyes is going to kind of struggle from out here. Hand traps. I know, Robbie, you're talking 10 minutes about hand trapping Blue Eyes. Cutting them off from the ultimate fusion, actually ashing the discard search, even though they can still equip the Blue Eyes ultimate from the deck, or from the extra deck is whatever. They still have to have the ultimate fusion. Imperm is a crazy card against them. Like, Imperm on the right card ruins their entire game plan. Also, you don't really, I'll be honest with you, you don't really give a crap about the Link monster resolving and getting them into, like, the field spell for the additional extender. Yeah, I mean, they can dump, like, another Blue Eyes or something into the graveyard. It also depends on how they open up, too. You have to remember, if they have to dump a Blue Eyes off the field spell targeting it, or, they had a way to get a Blue Eyes out of their hand into the graveyard, that's going to lead you into some different places. Nibiru doesn't really work on the deck. They pretty much operate underneath a huge amount of, 3-4 summons, and there's already something out on the field, typically. It also really depends on, I guess, what you're trying to do against the deck. Like I said, high impact is Imperm. Ash is extremely good. Nib, not so good. Then to top things off, if you go second against Blue Eyes and you're probably going to get Calamity locked. I mean, I guess that kind of comes down to, the Imperm situation. Because, if they open up the nuts, all right, and they open up in such a good position out here, obviously, you might have a Fuwa Warso or something, or a Perulia to draw you some extra cards. That'll typically help. But if Calamity remains legal, once again, our question mark here through all of this, depending on that situation, depends on where you kind of go from there. Obviously, Dark Ruler No More wrecks this deck. If they do not have Calamity, and they're ending on what, the Crimson Dragon, the big Blue Eyes, and Magia, which is the scariest field that you can end on, that deck loses to Sphere Mode and Dark Ruler. Easy. Good news, I'm pretty sure you can Sphere Mode underneath Calamity. So, if they hand you, if they end on, the big level 12 Blue Eyes, the Calamity and the, just go ahead and hand them a Sphere Mode. They might be able to not extend that far. I mean, I've seen some fields. Also, this depends on the level of interaction you have. One interruption can shave them off of a Crimson Dragon. I know, it's kind of crazy, but, they're playing the Sync or Rumble anyway to get the extra extender usually set up onto the field so that they can do the extension play. But, okay. So, to recap here. Ash, Imperm, good cards. Dark Ruler, also really good. Yeah, the standard, also Droplet. I mean, the standard board breaker cards, this deck is not immune to the board breaker cards. All right, like any other deck that, oh my gosh, but Magia, Robbie, it's a monster, it's a spell, and it's a trap negate. No shit, all right? I understand. It's a triple threat. Oh my gosh, one of each of his heads are a negatesy waitsy. But the deck is not the next best deck in the room. And yeah, I bet you're all going to wait for your clickbait videos. You're going to see the next tier 1 awesome deck. As of filming this, there is still a card missing. It could be another extra deck utility option. I'm sure there's going to be something extremely cool still coming for this deck. But as it stands, everything that we've added into the equation for this does not make this deck an unbeatable monster. Okay, now let's talk about Malice over here. So, I've watched my friend doing a lot of playtesting with Malice. And I mean, a lot. And, Drastic Draw is absolutely awful in the deck. You know, the problem with the whole Drastic Draw thing was, if your monsters have already returned back to the field once this turn, how... You're just drawing 3 cards. You're not doing anything to, like these stuck around. Yeah, I mean, they did. Sure. But, once you trigger them the second time, there goes your advantage tree. And that's kind of where my problem lies with the whole Jurassic Draw thing that people were looking at, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is cool. Yeah, I thought it seemed kind of cool, but it's very win more. Like, you're only really seeing that card's use into, like, turn... Dare I say, 3? Oh, I said Yu-Gi-Oh! Getting past turn 1. But, now there's that. Now, one cool thing that I will give this deck is the trap cards being able to be used when you set them right away by banishing one of the names. That's really good. I quite like that. My main concern, however, for all of this still lies in the... if I'm setting these, then I'm probably losing those bodies off of the field, which is like the whole thing that I want to be maintaining with these. It's almost like I want these things to come back more than once in a lot of these situations. And it's just not happening. You're not having these monsters jump back onto your field more than once. I would almost wish that Return from the Different Dimension was legal for these cards. But, I mean, Shifter helps out immensely. Oddly enough, the most blown out matchup I've watched so far for this has actually been Tenpai. One very, very funny thing that these cards can do is they can come back and, free floats if your opponent hasn't, shut you off from using effects during the battle phase. Free pay 300. Oh, my wall's back now. Pay 300. My wall's back now. Pay 900. That's kind of cheesy. That's the level of... I think that, to me, that's the thing that really caught my attention with them, is they created an archetype that not only uses the banish pile, but these things are recurring chum blocks. These are monsters that their purpose is to make sure that, oops, you don't die. And that's very, very critically important out here to understand. You're not trying to lose the game when you're paying 300 life points to not take 4,000 to the face or something like that is pretty important. Let's call it what it is. You want that recurability assets. Now, things that beat this deck just themselves right now, honestly. The deck in its current iteration has a lot of problems. I mean, yeah, you can go down a lot of cool lines with the deck, but we need more support for it. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you straight to your face, oh, it's absolutely awful. No, in its current iteration, it needs more. It is a good start in the right direction. I mean, all 3 of the deck build pack decks were extremely good. But, when you got everybody out here rushing towards Jurassic Draw for people being like, oh, I get a +2 on this. This is insane. You need time for the innovation to circulate, and you need time for people to get on the right direction out here so you can see, oh, hey, this stuff is actually not the best method to this. I do fully expect this deck will start to be figured out, I would say, pretty soon. With that being said, though, deck has some of the coolest ideas behind it. We just, we're missing a Link monster. That's fine. We'll get to all that. But those are my current talks about Blue Eyes and Malice, just through, the sheer amounts of playtesting that I have seen and I have done myself. Mimikghoul still remains one of my favorite decks in modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! because swooping down on an opponent's monster just puts them in such a bad position. It is hilarious. So leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.